Aloha, friends and family. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Healing Self. So this week's guest, I have to admit, is a little bit of a girl crush for me. Her name is Tara Romano, and I had the pleasure of actually being a part of an event with Amber Lillystrom about a year ago, where she was a speaker at the event. And not only did she speak, but she led us through an amazing, empowering little dance through the company that she created, which is Tone and Tease. And of course, I hopped myself right up on stage and I was dancing next to her and I just had such a great time. And I knew at that moment that it was just going to be really important for me to share her with my audience. So Tara Romano is an inspirational speaker for women in their empowerment. She's a serial entrepreneur and a YouTube star with over 5 million views on her internationally renowned fitness videos featuring her original choreography and her love for dance. She is the creative director and creator of Tone and Tease, which is a fitness program incorporating cardio, toning with easy to follow dance moves using a strategically placed chair. Through her program, she encourages her diva tribe to unleash and let go. Tara's vision is to ignite and inspire women to love themselves completely by building their confidence so they can live their best life. You can find her videos on social media with daily inspirations and celebrating how to live perfectly imperfect. You guys hear me say that all the time. And she shares her journey of fitness by creating a life by design and her ongoing focus on the importance of daily personal development practice. She also incorporates health and well-being. She sends a beautiful message of just empowering women to feel really good inside their body. So I'm sure you can see why she was the perfect guest for me to bring on the show today. So thank you so much for being here today.
And I'm so excited to finally be able to sit down and chat with you. It's been a long time coming.
It has been, but I always trust in the timing of everything. So, you know, one of the things that you say on your website where I'm just like, oh yeah, like I totally resonate with this girl is you have this insatiable curiosity of what it means to live life to the fullest. And I love that you say that. Like I just got all the chills when I said that because when, you know, I feel the same way. And when I just did a post the other day on Instagram in high school and college, you know how you have like your senior quote. Mine was always like something like live life to the fullest and, you know, do like, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to start this with you by going all the way into that question and asking you, what does that look like or feel like for you?
Oof, I actually have chills when you're saying this. I love when I talk to people and I get chills. I know that it touches something. And I feel like I'm always asking myself in that inadvertently on the daily, right? Because things come up and I don't feel like in that moment I'm probably living life to the fullest, right? So it's a question I feel like I'm always asking, like, I'll just bring it to the present time where I have people and friends that are really sick or like have, you know, dying and stuff and things like that, just like real life stuff happening. And I every morning or in that moment, I'm like, am I doing right now like what I want to do, what feels really good? Like if I found out tomorrow that like, you know, I had a week left or something like that, which people are finding out, like it's crazy things that are happening in life right now. But I feel like for me, if I could answer that just with a simple answer, it would be like doing what makes me happy, what fills me up and feels good. I've had a lot of success in my life and I found to the core that happiness is the most amazing success to me. It just is the truest form.
Yeah, and I love that you share that. You know, it's been really present for me actually lately, just really coming to this understanding that And we're about the same age. I think I'm 42. I think
42.
you're,
Yeah,
yeah.
same age. Yep.
Yeah. So 77, were you in 77 or?
77.
So, it's just like this where we are in our life, which is, I think is just a beautiful place and I'm really loving it. But it's like, I realized that the highest form of self-expression for me, and I think for many women that we are probably surrounded by, is joy. And that maybe we have spent, especially women our age, have spent so much of our life like trying to prove ourselves for, outward approval, proving we could do this or do that. And maybe it brought us like a small moment of joy to be acknowledged or to get that degree or to do whatever the thing was. But then at the end of the day, like what I started realizing is the path of joy and happiness, now I'm realizing, is within, right? It's not seeking it outside of ourselves. So, and you embody this so much. You guys, if you just go watch her YouTube videos, like you just want to be like rooting for this girl when she's dancing. You want to be like, yeah, go girl, like own it. And, she really, you do. And I got to see her live on stage, which was super fun. But you really do embody, like you embody the choice of living a life and sharing with people that you just chose to create a life where you could empower women through dance fitness. And you teach different types of fitness, but then you created your own style of dance and fitness. And even more so, a style that helps women to feel comfortable in their bodies, which is so valuable, right? I mean, I've been health coaching for 10 years, and as a health coach, I realized that really the deeper issue was really the relationship with their body and food. So then I became a life coach, and I just know that a lot of what women are dealing with that's taking them out of the happiness and the joy is kind of the self-judgment. And some of that either comes through, are they achieving what they think they're supposed to, or do they look and feel the way that they think they're supposed to? So tell me a little bit about how the work that you do, because you have a live event, Unleashed, right? Your Life Unleashed every year. You have a tribe of women who follow you. You have YouTube videos. You have several resources to invite women, and probably, do men come too?
Yeah, they actually do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I noticed on your website it says divas and divos. So I was like, oh, so you invite people into your world to help them really kind of get out of their mind and into their body, which I think is such a wonderful gift. So where did this fire ignite? Like, how did you know that this is what you were put on the planet to do?
I love that question. I'm just getting chills all over. So it brings me back to, I feel like, when it first originated. So the gym that I kind of grew up in wouldn't let me, I taught 3 classes there, and they wouldn't let me have any more classes or teach anywhere else, and they wouldn't give me a pay raise. And I was at the point of my career where I was like, I love this. Like, how am I going to expand? So it's like they capped my passion and they capped my income. So I had to leave. And of course, I was so upset because I'd been there for like 7 or 8 years. So when I left, I was like, what do I do? Like, so I started just, I started like going to like places to audition. And this one place that I went to said, okay, we're taking auditions, but we want this gym to be something new and different. So we need you to come to us with a new format. And I'm like, a new format. Okay. So I went home and I started Googling just dance and fitness, and I came across Crunch Fitness. And if you guys know Crunch Fitness, it's a gym that has a lot of really fun formats. And I saw this man dancing with a body bar. It was called strip bar. And I was like, oh my God, how fun is that? Like, he had a body bar. So I'm like, maybe I can do like sexy dance fitness or something like that. Like, so then that's kind of where it originated. And I didn't even have a name for it at all. Like, I just went there and I just created a dance or something like that. And then my friend actually helped me create the name. So, I mean, this was almost 8 years ago, and Tone and Tease has completely evolved since then. So even when I say dance fitness, like even right now, that doesn't resonate so much of what it does, because it is so much of movement and body and embodiment and moving your emotions through your body. So even though we did categorize it as dance fitness, and then I had the chair and I use a towel, and then we went from sneakers and ponytails to heels and lipstick, you know. But the most important thing for me was, because I started off with Zumba, and that's where my YouTube channel created. And then that's where people found me. And it kind of just like blew up a little bit, and people from literally all over the world were messaging me and wanting to host me. And I was like, what? I was never even really a dancer. I mean, my mom said I would throw myself on the floor and have a fit when I would have to go to dance school. So it's just so interesting to me that this is like what I'm doing. So when I would go to other places, now, like, people didn't know, I would go there in like these high boots, shiny pants, like hair down, looking fit, right? But they didn't understand the person inside, who was so nervous, like afraid of what people thought about me, probably like was still dealing with like food issues. So I'll never forget, I was still living in Jersey, this was years ago, traveling to California, and there were 70 women of all different ages, ethnic backgrounds, sizes. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to teach these women, because a lot of them were just kind of looking at me up and down. So it was in that moment that I was like, I need to share about who I am and like the insecurities that I have, because, you know, like this young fit instructor is going to tell you to love your body and touch yourself and crawl on the floor and just, you know, like forget about yesterday and don't think about, you know, whatever it is. Like, I had to let them know about my insecurities, and like knowing that I saw them too. Like, I know that you are a mom and you're struggling to even get a shower taken, or maybe you haven't had sex with your husband in a while, or, you know, maybe you're just trying so hard to lose the weight and it's been a decade later and you're even heavier than when you first. So it was so important to me, and I'm like, how do I say this? You know? So I just shared about like a struggle that I had, and it kind of went from there. And it was in that moment that I realized, all right, like the music can't just go on. This is not just about music. And then we started adding in like I am statements before even I'm showing them a dance move, putting on the music, I'm opening them up and creating a safe space for them. And then we're like yelling like incantations, I guess, as Tony Robbins would say even, and then changing state. So we talk about our alter ego, because I'm like, you know, no matter where you are in your life as a woman or as a human, there is a side of you that is like our highest self, where we love exactly who we are. We want to be expressive. And I think it's just tapping into that again. And I coined the phrase unleash and let go, because there's always an area in our life like that we need to do that in. So it could be as simple as a conversation that we're not having. It could be as simple as putting on an outfit that makes us feel better, but we don't, because we're so nervous of what the other people are going to think, or maybe a hair color, or just like in as simple as walking. And that's why that is my favorite thing that I do. I didn't do it at Amber's event because it was like a theater, but I do a walking part too, because I'm like, if we're lucky, we have legs that we walk every day. Imagine if you just switched it a little bit and you were a little bit more confident when you walked, and the energy that you exude just for not only yourself, for other people. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much good stuff there. First of all, I want to just thank you for sharing and, you know, just really bringing the audience into just your inside world and showing us that you're not different than us. You're just like us. Like, we all have these emotional roller coasters, and we all, no matter what we look like we likely have had some type of curiosity or judgment around our own image or how we feel or the choices that we make to feel good or to be accepted. And I also love that I actually love that you shared that when you were a kid, you know, threw tantrums to dance, because it makes me think, well, yeah, because you probably needed to express it in your own way, because that's, you know, why you came here, was to help. Part of why you're here is to help women and men feel good in their bodies through a version of dance that was authentic to you. And I love that you shared that we want to be expressed, because the 4 E's of the embodied healing self are to embrace, embody, empower, and then to express. And it kind of takes us up through the chakra system. But ultimately, I do believe that humans do want to be seen fully expressed. And I feel that your style of dance and your messaging and the space that you create, because I was a part of it at an event, really does give permission to women to explore that and be curious about it. And the fun part is that once they've been given permission, and I know you see this a lot of, and I'm speaking mostly to women, I guess, just because that was my experience, but it does feel like unleashed. It does feel fiercely powerful and soft and feminine at the same time, which is really wonderful. When you think about, that experience where you're up on stage teaching women to dance, and then you had a moment where you realized you needed to share your story, what was sort of the in that moment that you realized you needed to do that, what was the outcome of the shift in what you were doing? Because at first you said you were a dance teacher. Now you're a motivational speaker, an inspirational speaker, empowering women in health, in dance, in really your messaging applies to all parts of life. You happen to show up fully embodied through dance. But what was the shift in that moment at that event, which I thought you said was in California? After that event, like, was there a decision you knew you had to make to change things, or what shifted?
So such a great question. So that event that I was talking about, it was actually just the class. So it was still like, I was just having it as like pop-up classes, so to speak. So it was the format was evolving, right? So then I hadn't done women's events yet. I hadn't done like speaking events yet. And my first one was the Bliss Project. So this is going back, I guess, like 6 years ago. Wait, 6 years ago was my first women's event. And, a room full of women. And I remember, so like the first one, it wasn't until the second Bliss Project. So I guess like 5 or 6 years ago, where like, again, I remember like, it was at that one event where I was just kind of dance fitness. But then at this women's event, like I'm just a dance fitness instructor, right? So that's like, I'm thinking, but my first Bliss Project, women's event, I had a woman come up to me and said, crying. And she's like, I haven't had sex with my husband in a year. I'm calling him right now. Like, so it was that moment. And of course I'm even as a fitness instructor before Tone and Tease, I'm always I love to connect with my students. So I'm never just turning on the music. It's like, how are you? Like, what this is about. Like, obviously it's not just about our bodies. It's mind, body, soul, the whole nine. But like, when Tone and Tease came about, it was, I never even imagined, it really was the students telling me what they needed, right? It's just evolved from the experiences that I had. And, I feel like we teach what we need the most, right? So like, I clearly like have throughout my life dealt with so much in terms of confidence, self-doubt, self-worth, like, and obviously it's something that I still catch myself and have to remind myself, this is what you teach. So like, I come out of it a lot sooner, right? And I understand my mind and all of that. But like when that woman came up to me and said that, and I had women messaging me and just like feeling free. And obviously when you have an event, like people know that they're coming there for that. But like, I was really intentional about what I was going to be doing each time I went into this. And now at this point, unfortunately I had to cancel so many events I was doing, but I feel like it's okay because it's allowed me to hone in on what I need right now, like for all of that to move forward. So yeah, I just feel like it was the experiences that taught me what women needed.
Yeah.
My own experiences,
Yeah. And I love how you share what we're here to learn, we're here to teach. And you also talk about how dance is a way to move emotions through the body. So what was the primary emotion that was showing up for you that you were sort of, expressing and moving through the body as this journey was unfolding before you?
Oh my gosh, doubt, comparison. Like those were the two biggest ones. Like before, like, so I come from network marketing, and that's where I learned about personal development. So I've been in it for like a little over 10 years. I mean, I never knew about any of this. Like nobody told me I could be, do, or have anything I wanted, or dreams and vision boards. So when all of this came about, I just feel like I started to understand, like why I did what I did. But now I forgot the question.
The question was really, we talk about what we're here to learn, we're here to teach, and that your style of dance and all styles of dance give us the opportunity to move emotion through the body. So it's not just fitness, right? Like we're painting the picture that like what we're doing is really actually healing our relationship with our body. And so there was an emotion that you were healing in the process as your journey was unfolding for you, that I'm sure many of the listeners can relate to, which you shared was self-doubt, which is so, interesting, because when I saw you on stage, like until you shared your story, people are not going to see that in you, but you've had to work through that self-doubt, allow the emotions to work through your body so that you could fully embody and express who you are and live your life to the fullest expression of you, unleashed, right? This is where this all came from, because you know what it's like, because you've been through the journey.
Yeah, that's so funny. And my thought came back to me because I was thinking why I brought up network marketing and the personal development is because when I first started speaking, I never imagined I would ever even speak. I was supposed to be a phys ed teacher, right? And like I couldn't find a teaching job, but I had always been creative. I've always like done dance programs in the schools. Like I just always have been like a worker, like a lot of grit. I get it from my father, hands down. And I'll never forget when I first started doing training, even training calls with like a few of people from my team, I would literally get so nervous. I would cry before a presentation. Literally, I'll never, like one of my first presentations in front of like, I think it was 1,000 people, literally hysterical crying the night before because I was so nervous. And I didn't know about like breath work and meditation and like all of that. So I like did it messy. So I can really teach working through it and getting to the other side. Because I've lived it over and over and over and over again. And even 2 years ago, after many women's events, much speaking, I was in a mastermind and I was like, and I belonged there. Like I deserved to be there. I created a lot of success in my life and there was a lot I could offer that room. And I remember before walking in being like, feeling like I was a kid at school on the first day, being so nervous to meet people because I felt like they were better. Like I didn't belong there. But then I realized like a lot of other people feel that way, and it's just not staying there and it's being able to express it. Like I am a very, I mean, you know this so much from my posting, but I feel like I have to express how I feel because it brings me to the other side. And I feel like it also allows people to see like, oh, okay, like this is normal. I can feel this too. And it's just not staying there. I think we can feel all of the emotions in a very empowered way. It's not like a victim like feeling. It's an empowered, vulnerable feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say that the body is a wonderful tool to empower the emotion, which is energy in motion.
Yep.
And that's why we're having this conversation.
100%.
Yeah. And, I want to share with the audience just to bring them into my background for a little bit and to why this conversation is so important to me. So I grew up being an athlete, never thought it was really a dancer, just didn't, dance is an expensive sport when you're a kid. So that was just not something that was available to me, although I always loved music. And then I was very masculine. I ended up going to a military academy with 10% women. I've always been really good at physical athletic activities. Well, I have spent a lot of time in extremely male-dominated environments, including being on merchant ships sailing around the world as the only woman on the ship and not feeling safe.
Wow.
And so, the part of me that came out was this really fierce, like, well, don't try to mess with me because I'll basically, punch your face. And like, I don't even know if I could have done it. I'm like 110 pounds, 5'2". But in my mind, I was like, I was definitely going to protect myself. And what I realized is like, I was living my life protecting myself and using my body as protection, and very disconnected to my body, and even more so disconnected to a feminine presence because it felt very unsafe. And so I met my husband in this college, and he happens to be from Hawaii. And, he just really, he actually embodies very healthy feminine energy. So he kind of cracked me open a little bit. And I started realizing that I love dancing. I started doing some hula dance and some belly dance and pole dance and dance fitness. And I was like, wow, like I've been missing out on this my whole life. And what it gave me was freedom. I felt liberated to, now I couldn't do this still out in public because I didn't feel safe as a woman. And so I'm speaking because I think there's a deeper healing part of this, where there are women who have also experienced trauma around being a woman in their body, right? They've either been assaulted or something has possibly potentially happened to them where they felt unsafe, as it did with me. And when I was given permission to feel feminine in my body, which took years to do, that is where I realized was like, it felt so healthy and liberating, but also we spoke about the happiness and the joy, because I think that we're meant to, if you look at the feminine archetypes, right, there's the Venus, the very feminine, we're meant to love our bodies, and movement is an empowering way to, and by the way, it doesn't matter what you look like, it's what you feel like, right? So I want to ask you to speak to that a little bit. How do you help women? Because I know that there's this thing that happens where we think we don't look good, and that's not what it's about. It's about getting out of what it's supposed to look like and going into your body and allowing yourself to feel safe, to feel empowered, to feel beautiful. So how do you guide women, or what would you say to, and I know I'm speaking mostly to women today, but what would you say to them to help them get out of, this perfectly imperfect message, right? Like, how does it relate to movement in the body?
So, and I love this question because I, even in my regular classes, my regular dance fitness classes, people are like, I can't dance. I'm not good. And they like laugh it off. And I'm like, I can so appreciate where they're coming from, but this is what I say: before you even spoke a word, you moved your body to like music, a sound, you wiggled and you smile, like majority of like little kids, like either they're sitting and moving, and it's just such a joyous feeling because you're moving energy through your body, right? So we get to a certain age where something happens or someone said something, or you just feel awkward, that awkward feeling like someone's looking and I'm doing something wrong or I don't look good, right? And a lot of people stay in there, like you just kind of expressed a little bit about what happened to you. And for me, I feel like it's about the movement. It's about like the sound, not even necessarily the song. So I did I actually just started incorporating this this past year. So two different things. Like I'll show a couple of moves and I'll put on music and I say, close your eyes and just do whatever your body feels. When I tell you, Jen, and this came to me, like this was one event that it actually just, I didn't plan it. And I just came to my head, goosebumps on my body when I saw these women on the, like, I actually can visualize it. So at my Unleashed event, I just did something similar where I just showed a couple of moves. We were in a chair. I put like some drums on. I had them close their eyes. And I said, if you feel like doing something different, get up, do it. It's like the most beautiful thing it's better than any choreography I've ever created. Watching people, like I could get emotional thinking about it, like watching people like literally express through movement with their eye, like all different ages. It's like it's unreal. It's literally unreal. And I'm like, so I'm still learning, like, because again, like I'm still learning like what it is that people need, and it's just, it's like I'm being told what they need, right? It's like a channel almost, but I feel like it's because I've done so much work on trying to connect with myself and get through my own things that I'm able to teach it, like be the channel for other people, because I'm not really doing anything. I'm just like showing a couple little moves that aren't, it's like just moving your body a little bit. So like even like sitting in the chair and just like doing little circles like with your, and like whatever it looks like, and then putting some music on and watching people just go.
Yeah. And I love how you said you're really just a channel for healing, because that's what I saw in you. The moment I saw you, I was like, she is not just a dance teacher. Like, she is here to hold the space and to help women heal through their body. And I'm like, as you were speaking, I was just like envisioning women of all ages, feeling beautiful and feeling safe and feeling feminine and confident and powerful, or whatever it is that they need. Because I was going to ask you, well, what do they need? But they all need something different, right? And, I think that the answer is more about when you said closing your eyes, that allows them to go inward and connect with what they need. So rather than putting a word on it for them, letting them discover, and you're holding the space for that, which is so beautiful. And I have been a part of a couple of women's circles where that permission was given as well. And it has brought women to tears, and like of all ages, 60s, 70s, and thinking about even just generationally how a lot of that was not acceptable for particularly in that generation. And just such a beautiful space and opportunity to allow that to happen. So what would you say to around this idea of being perfectly imperfect? You just answered it a little bit, but what do you think that just being given permission to feel in their body and be seen by other people is really the answer? Or what do you think is like holding us back from, other than the self-doubt and the confidence that we spoke about? Like, I kind of feel like it's like permission.
I feel like people don't feel supported in their thoughts and their wants sometimes too. I feel like, and I've felt this, like wanting to do something or start something or express in a way, and just feeling like stuck in my own body and my own mind. And like for me, the only way I can move through that feeling is through any kind of movement. And I feel like people don't have their out. I think we just get stuck in our thoughts, and it being such a world of social media, which is a blessing and a curse, I always say, because what a blessing. I don't know what I would have done without social media and people like from all over really being able to connect with them, and being able to do things like this, and in a time like, especially right now. But like I feel like being so caught up, especially if your work requires being online so much, like no matter how much personal development, like depending on what happened to you growing up, like you're going to see things a certain way, and it's going to be more challenging for you to move through it. Like how I see something and someone else sees it, we're going to relate and react in a different way. So I feel like having that support, and that's why I'm a firm believer in coaching. I started therapy when I was 10 years old. So like, I had done that for a couple of decades. And then when coaching came in, I need that support like, on the daily. I just do, like, and I just know that for my personality and like some of the trauma that I've had growing up. So like, I understand that. And I feel like people don't understand their trauma or things that they do. And I feel like they get caught up in that headspace, and it's not their fault. And it's so interesting because I have family members that I'm like, I don't understand why you do what you do. But my sister's always like, it's their journey, and we can't change someone else's journey. We have to just love and support it no matter what. So I feel like I'm always going to share what I know, and how someone perceives it is not my problem. It really is.
It's not your responsibility for how they receive it. Right. Yeah.
I like that word better for sure.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because that so I'm actually transitioning into training and certifying intuitive life coaches, and one of the things that just came up in our group circle the other day was exactly that. And so it's not even just, there is sort of a hesitation, I think, for us, just in that we want to be conscious of how what we're saying impacts other people. We do have that level of awareness. Um, I'm wondering if you would be willing to share just a couple of the difficult things that you have had to work through in your personal development journey, because, it is a journey for a reason. Like, we're never really done, right? But we do get to transmute. I love to think of it as energy, like emotions or energy in motion. So whether we're transmuting energy through dance and through our body, or whether we're transmuting energy through speaking, or transmuting energy through teaching, or, creating, writing a book, whatever it is, like, we do get to choose to transmute that energy. And so we haven't really talked too much about, like, we know that you have had some things that you struggled with, but what are a couple of the kind of stops along the way that really, really like impacted who you are today?
That's so funny. So I actually just learned about trauma work probably 2 to 3 years ago, but really started working a lot with it more like in the past year. So I had a huge issue with food, literally my entire life. I was bulimic for a long time, but it actually followed me into my adult life, where like binging and just like dieting. And so, I mean, like, I'm telling you, like, it was just ruled my days. So like, it would be to the point where I would like even starve myself before teaching a class or having a certain event, and then binge right after. I mean, like, you name it, you name it. So, and it really followed me on and off. Like, of course you have a handle on it for a little bit, up until like my mid to early 30s. And I actually share that with like a lot of the women's events and things like that, because from the outside looking in, like, I've gotten to places in my life where I look really fit, and but like and I feel like you see so much of that right now on Instagram, which makes me so happy. Like, I follow any Instagram page that talks about body positivity, like overcoming eating disorders, just like loving the roles and being okay with fluctuating. I think we're just not okay with fluctuating. And the funny thing is I do, the network marketing that I'm in is health and healthy aging. But I even position that to like, listen, I love pizza and wine, and I will not have it. Like, I have to live a healthy lifestyle and not worry so much about like the flab like hanging over. And honestly, because I've come to such a place of that, I feel so good, like good in my body. You know what I mean? It's like, so
totally. It's just as important to, and so what I hear you saying, that in my own words, it's just as important to have a healthy relationship with food as it is to eat the right things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I want to feel like, I'm 42. Like, I want to eat. I feel good when I eat healthy, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm feeling bad about like something I'm going to have, like, then my body's going to react that way too.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel inflamed. Like, so, and I always like to, like, sometimes people, like, I'll put up a post about like weight or like how I'm feeling. And I know to some people, I like might, even at my heaviest or like where I'm not feeling good, I might feel fit. So it's not judging each other on like what we look like and how we feel. And it's just, like, it's just not having judgment. I think judgment is good in a sense, but like when we're having it against ourselves and other people in terms of like why they're sharing what they're sharing. I think we can just learn a lot from that. So that was a huge struggle for me.
Yeah. And, I love so much that you're sharing that, because it really brings light to the fact that like we're all having this inner experience, no matter what it looks like on the outside, right? Even through social media, even through, whatever. And I get this a lot too. People think it's so much easier for me to do this. Well, no, you don't know what I had to go through to get here. It's just the choice that we make, right? Like, that insatiable curiosity of what is it like to live life to the fullest? Well, sometimes that means going down into the trenches of the darkness of bulimia to come out on the other side and be able to hold the space for women who might be struggling with their own body image. Because if you didn't do that, you wouldn't know how to support women around that conversation. And that is really like the whole spectrum of, the fullness of life and the fullness of the human experience, that we have these inner struggles, but that we get to choose differently. And you know what? Sometimes, because we're perfectly imperfect, we make the mistake again and we go back to the guy who treated us like crap, and we eat the whole pizza, and then we feel bloated, and we do that.
Yeah.
And so then what? So my next question is, look, we're human. You and I we're human, right? So we get triggered. I like to call triggers activations. So we have these experiences where we get activated to choose again. And sometimes we go this way and sometimes we go that way.
Oh, I love that. Activated to choose again, as in terms of a trigger, because I use the word trigger a lot, and I love that.
It's more optimistic. Right. You can take it. Go ahead. You can use it. But yeah, that's like the optimist way of because I really noticed oh, this is another opportunity, and damn it, it sucks and it's going to be hard, but it's an opportunity to go back into my old pattern of eating the whole pizza, yelling at my kids, ignoring my husband, drinking the whole bottle, whatever it is, right? Or choosing differently. So when that happens for you, because no one gets away without it happening, right? It's just maybe at the end of our life, I don't know, but unless you're the Dalai Lama or Jesus Christ, you're just going to have these experiences.
Oh,
After doing this work for so long, what do you practice? What do you practice when you find yourself in those moments of life?
I feel things are always going to come up. And I feel and because I'm so hyper aware, I'm always trying to find the lesson, and anytime something comes up, and it's just being aware, catching it, and not staying in it so long. I'm a huge person on I'm not oh, be positive about it. You're lucky that you have this, feel grateful because, you're healthy and you're breathing, and yes, all of those things. But there is something to be said about allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to eat the pizza, the whole entire thing, wash it down with whatever you want. And then noticing, understanding that you were there, you did it, not feeling bad about it, but feeling bad if you need to, and not staying there. I feel you have to let it through. You have to, whatever's got to pass, you got to let it through. And then it's you build on that, and it doesn't happen as often, or you don't stay in it as long. So I get super triggered, but it's an activation I'm noticing, right, to choose. So when I move, and we actually just moved, and so I don't do well in chaos, and literally it's the only time I'll ever be super feel super angry and just clenched fist, gritted teeth, and I was just noticing it, and it's just not staying there long. So understanding certain things that bring it on, that certain things are going to get you there. So if it's not going out with that specific person or watching this specific thing or whatever it is, I think it's just a practice, and it's going to look different. I don't think there's any balance with it.
Yeah, I love that you say it's a practice, because it really is. And I do believe that over time, the more practice you have, it kind of dissipates the energy a little bit, and then you kind of notice it. It's if you're addicted to, chocolate, and you just eat a little bit less and less over time, eventually, you don't crave it as much. It's kind of you just don't have so much of an attachment to it. And I wanted to, something just came up for me, because I practice something similar in my own way. I actually kind of have a conversation with the part of me, and I'll be well, what needs to be healed? What is the need underneath? And I remember now, it just came to me. Don't you have a name for your
oh yeah, my alter ego.
Yeah. What is the name? Would you be willing to share?
Yeah, Eva.
Eva, that's right. Eva. So when does Eva come out?
So Eva comes out for presentation, a talk, or when she teaches. She's more of confident, sexy, fun, So it's like, but I feel like we have different alter egos. When I'm in Tone and Tease, like it's Eva all the way. Like she doesn't care about anything, like what anyone thinks of her. She's just like owning everything to the biggest, the fullest, most expressive. And then I think there's like different ego, like alter egos that need to come out for whatever it is that you need to do. Like for something, I think people are not having conversations that they need to have, like a lot. And I feel like you need to find that alter ego there, that can be confident enough to just ask for what they need or say what they need to say or do what they need to do, so.
Yeah. So there's a moment in our lives where whatever it is that alter ego is showing up, we feel the resistance in our body. Whether it's you're about to go on stage and speak, or you just got invited to do this, or you're getting ready to sign the lease to move to a new house. In that moment, what do you practice?
Oh, it's different for each one. It's so funny because signing the lease to where I am now, I had nothing. I felt not like it was just like ease, right? Before going on a stage, I do breath work, visualization. Well, I actually prepare before I prepare before the day. Visualization, I listen to binaural beats, but that day I do breathing, visualization, and music. So like once I'm done with all of it, it's the music, and that's
Do
like.
you dance? Are you dancing on the side stage?
I actually like not full out dance. I close my eyes and listen to the music and kind of let it move me, and then I see myself where I need to be, like going through. So yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah, music is
the visualizer too. I'm very, very visual, and I found visualization exercises help me so much.
Do you have like a guided meditation you listen to, or a guided visualization, or?
So I love Joe Dispenza, Deepak Chopra, but I also really love binaural beats because it allows me to do whatever I need to do, and it's just like that sound a little bit. And I do try to do, because I know that they say like not having any I don't know what word I'm trying to listen, but anything like no sound and just breath work and no music to kind of just really like hone in. So sometimes I'll do that, but I just do so much better with music. Like some kind of sound really helps activate me.
Yeah, and as you're speaking, maybe 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast on a journey through the chakras, and I talked a lot about how we resonate with different types of healing modalities. And so for me, I'm very sound and vibration oriented as well. And I'm also very clairaudient, and those are connected. And so for some people, it might be something different, but I totally resonate with that whole sensation of like, you could be having a really bad day, and if the right song comes on, it's just like,
isn't that the truth?
Yes. So thank you, musicians, for creating such wonderful healing. I mean, that's my thought too, is musicians are healers in the world as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As you were talking, I was thinking another thing for me is like connection with people. Like I am like huge energy person, and I feel like even just like this conversation's given me like so much energy. And then you can like, that's why I say energy really doesn't lie, because you could be talking to someone and just feel completely different, even having the same type of conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like I feel like our body doesn't lie, right?
Yeah.
That's why when people talk about intuition, I remember never understanding it. I'm like, I don't understand, like, but like your body just really does. It tells you what it needs.
And I think that's part of it, is you don't have to understand it. You just have to trust it, right?
Yeah.
That's like the whole undoing and unbecoming of what we thought we were supposed to be, when actually we already are everything we need to be. So I wish we could have like 2 more hours to talk. It's been so wonderful just to you have just such a bright aura about you. You're such a wonderful, beautiful human being. And thank you. I'm receiving that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that. So, about the energy, that's one of the beautiful things about live events. And so you do your live event annually, is that right? Usually in March, or?
Yeah, March, April.
Okay. So it's on your website, so people can check that out. Do you do it in your home state, or do you travel around?
Yeah, we do it in right here in New Jersey. We're putting it off for now, so nothing for now. I don't have I might do some kind of online, but right now everything's kind of at a hold. But it's mindset and movement, all mushed together in one amazing weekend. It was this last one was, it was too beautiful for words. It took on a higher form than I could have ever imagined. Like I left the event. I'm like, I created that. Like in my mind, I'm like, that was a higher source. Like how it
Yeah.
unfolded was like better. Each and every day and night was better than I ever could have visualized. That's how good it was. I'm like, all right, I'm good. like,
That
like,
must have felt amazing.
yeah, it really did. It did. It was
That's so
beautiful.
wonderful. So, two more questions before we go. One is, what would you say to the person who's listening who feels trapped or stuck? Because you have this word that you use, unleashed, right? Which is like freedom and liberating and like confidence. And what could you say to that person right now who's listening and like, oh, all of that sounds really great, but I don't know if that's me? What would you say to her?
Um, I I would find I would like find a tribe. I would find community. Even
Yes.
starting with one person, because this is what has helped me in every situation in my life where I have felt stuck. Leaning on people. And if you feel like you don't know anyone, reach out to me and I'll connect you with a group of women who will embrace you right away. I feel we need community and connection. And I've always been so sure of it, but never even so much in my own life. Like as humans, we need each other. We come from like tribes. I mean,
Yes.
so it's just so important.
I love that you said that so much. In fact, I lead two women's circles and I am a part of one. And I had some really deep wounds around specifically being supported by women, which is why I chose such a masculine path. And it has been the most amazing and healing experience. It is. I just participated in a women's circle 2 nights ago. I mean, we're just sharing some really deep shit. And it's just humbling, like the human experience. But what's so wonderful is like knowing that you can show up and be seen and supported and loved and not judged, because I think there's a wound around women judging, right? And so that was mine, at least. And being able to show up and be seen and supported with your, like, you've got the high vibe tribe, right? Like just finding a circle, a connection of people who are just going to hold that space for you, and to be seen in that. You couldn't have said a better answer. Thank you so much for saying that. And I feel like right now, with what's happening in the world, what's so wonderful is we're realizing like we can actually also do it as wonderful as it is in person. We can have these sharing circles online, which
Yeah, I
is,
think it's important to get out of our head. It's so important to be able to express what we're feeling and not give it life.
yes, not give it power. Like, like at the event that we were at, Karen Kenny talked a lot about moving out of your story to your glory, right? Like that's empowering.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do with your story, right? What are you
Yeah.
going to do with it? So what's new and exciting for you?
So I know this is probably like maybe not what a lot of people say, but right now I'm like trying to figure out what's next for me. I'm like giving myself a lot of self-love and time. I'm such a go-getter. Like I am such a work, next, next, next. And I finally, after like even months of this quarantine, the past 2 weeks, have gotten to a place where I'm knowing what I need and I'm actually like doing it and listening and just like tapping into like what I feel I want to create next. I'm leaning into my community, you know, like just having some goodness time for myself and just like expressing. I'm doing like my own dance, like by myself,
Yeah.
seeing what moves I want to share that like that feel good, and just kind of like trying to like regroup to kind of put out the new, I guess, so to speak. See what's next.
So what I hear you saying is you're just being really present with whatever is and just allowing it to come through.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
I
said
love that.
at the beginning of this, like there's some tragic things have been happening to people that I know that are close to me, and I'm like, what's going to make me happy right in this moment? Because I want to do it for the people who can't right now, like
Yeah.
and still live purposely, obviously. But I feel like it starts with me first, right? And
Yeah.
then yeah, just loving
Just
that.
shine your light, sister.
Yeah.
Shine your light and let that just radiate out through people. Thank you so much for your time. So, what is your current favorite song and current favorite? Yeah, just to let yourself move.
So it's funny because I've been playing this song anytime I do like a Zoom or a training. Justin Timberlake, the Dance, dance. What is that song? Can't stop moving. Can't stop the feeling.
Can't stop the feeling.
Yeah, like it's
Oh, that's a
literally.
good one.
Yeah, so good. It just like gets you. It's like a happy song. I feel like everyone knows it, and I just like.
And who doesn't love Justin Timberlake? Have you ever seen him in concert?
No,
Oh my God, the best. Like, what I love about him so much, I know this is off topic, but he is, first of all, so talented. He played every genre of music, every country, R&B, soul, hip hop, like everything. And I was just like, he's so talented and very humble, just like you, talented and humble.
Thank you. I'm receiving too.
Oh, good. So we are going to put that song on and we're going to dance for a couple of minutes. I'll stop the recording unless you want to be on. Then I feel like I'm like, look, I've got Tara Romano dancing on my YouTube. No, you guys are going to have to check her out on YouTube if you want to see her dance. But I'm going to put the song on for us at the close of this podcast because we both love to dance. So I want to thank you for being on the show. I am going to share all of your links in the show notes, where to find you, your YouTube channel, your Unleashed event, all of the yummy, juicy things you're putting out in the world, your Instagram account. So thank you so much for being here.
So nice chatting with you, Jen, and thanks for everyone for listening.
Have a good day, everyone. Aloha.